there's power in taking a photograph. There's power in being an artist.
It's the Phoenix Film Revival Podcast.
We're back.
We are back.
Welcome back to another episode of the Phoenix Film Revival Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Yannicone, and I have with me my lovely wife,
That's me.
Stacy.
We are back. We've been gone for a little while. Sorry, guys. I know we do like unexpected breaks.
Yes.
But that is life. That is how it goes sometimes. Like just busy people and day jobs in the lab and
Yep.
how it happens. But we are back and we promise we have episodes coming and we have people booked. So
Yep.
we will definitely be back on the podcast train. So you guys will have some episodes to listen to. So thank you for hanging in there. It wasn't too long of a break. I guess our last episode came out, March 12th, I think is what the last one was, somewhere in there.
Like 3 months or so.
So not too bad. Could have been longer.
Yeah. But we're back.
But we're back. Yeah.
We have a lot of awesome guests coming up.
Yep.
Reaching out to a few people. Get this back online.
Yep. And we just recorded one with Kurt. So our friend Kurt came in already and we got that one in the bag. So
That'll be the one up next.
yep, that'll be after this one. Party Teeth on
Party Teeth.
Instagram. So if you want to preview who Kurt is, go on find Party Teeth.
Yep.
On Instagram. That's an easy one to remember. I love that name. And we had a good conversation with him, which was awesome. So that'll be nice to introduce folks to Kurt and Kurt's work, which is great.
Yep.
But yeah, so what have we been up to? We've been doing...
Busy.
I know, it feels like it, right? We definitely have been busy. So I had a work event that kind of took me away for a little while to sunny Orlando, Florida. And then
Yeah.
I was miserable because it was Florida.
Stacy was Florida lady for a week.
It was hot. It was very hot.
She wanted to go wrangle out some alligators.
I didn't see a single alligator. I saw Disney in the very, very far distance from my hotel room. And I saw the airport, which is, if anyone's been to Orlando.
Yep. She brought her film camera and she didn't take any pictures.
I didn't take any freaking photos because there was nothing, literally nothing I wanted to take a photo of there, which is kind of ridiculous. Even the grounds, that was just like, it was pools. And if you can tell already, I don't like Florida. It's not for me.
Not her jam.
It's not my jam. No, it's not. And I was also trapped. So I was in a hotel the entire week and
Yep.
there's not much. I mean, conference rooms and business people. And I've thought about taking photos of some of that, but I was like, you know what? That bores me even being here in person.
Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see that. Yeah, so I didn't do that. So I had my trip. And you went to Missouri for a little while, so you were gone as well.
I did take a trip. I went to visit my family in Missouri. I shot some film. I only shot like 3 rolls, which was kind of surprising.
Because you took I
brought 2 cameras, but
you brought 2 cameras, and I think you took like 50 rolls of film with you.
I didn't take that much.
And Dan did not have any of his film hand checked. So now we have a big bag of
blasted film
that I'm keeping separate in the fridge.
Quarantined.
Yep. We've grown out of so everybody has, that drawer or whatever. We have the drawer.
The cheese drawer.
The cheese drawer.
Say
is that
cheese
what it
drawer.
is? Is it a cheese drawer? Meat drawer?
It's a say cheese drawer.
Our say cheese drawer has been very full of film. And then underneath at the bottom, we're full on half the bottom with 4x5 film.
Yep.
And then we have bags of film in there too.
Yeah.
We have too much film in our fridge. We have a kind of a small fridge, but
too much, but not enough.
Yeah, but now we have a big bag of X-rayed film that no one wants to shoot because Dan wasn't bothered to have it checked.
Shoot it. That's fine. It's fine.
We'll take it on the next trip. So then in July we're going to go and hopefully we're going to shoot a lot. I think so. We're going to go to starting in New York City. New York City. And then we're renting a car. after that part of the trip. And then we'll be driving all the way across New Jersey and all the way across Pennsylvania as well, because we're going to stay in Pennsylvania for a while, but we're going to head over and we'll end up flying out of Pittsburgh. So we'll manage to cover 3 states. And I'm hoping to take lots of photos on that trip. But
yep.
You can re-irradiate your film. You can do it again. You can send it back through. So it'll be like, by the time you shoot it, it'll be 3 times irradiated. And then...
Heck yeah. Blasted.
I'm going to get mine hand checked. So I have less faith in the... I
think I'll bring
X-rays.
my Rollie for that trip. I think that'll be a good camera to shoot with.
Mm-hmm. It's always hard to figure out like what to take on a trip, right? Like I always want to... And it depends on the trip. It depends a little bit where you go. So it's weird. When I go to New York City, it seems like, oh yeah, logical. Lots of places, lots of things to shoot. But at the same time, when I'm in New York, I don't want to really be bogged down with the camera. You know, I want to be mobile because you're doing a lot of walking and it's just, you want something light. So I always end up not really taking a lot of photos when we're in New York just because of that.
Yeah.
I also don't want to look like a target. Not that like New York's unsafe. You know, depends on where you're at. You don't want to be carrying around a camera, but yeah, it's like, do I want to take the 6-7? I don't think so. It's like, it just weighs too much. So yeah, it's a little bit of a debate on.
I'm going to bring a digital.
Dan, he did it. He bought a digital camera.
17 years since I bought my last digital camera. And I did the unspeakable.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no.
It's a mirrorless. It's kind of cool.
It looks film camera-ish, I gotta say. It does look film camera-y.
But can't beat 45 megapixels.
But I was disgusted. I was, on behalf of everyone, I was like, this is disgusting. I don't even know you.
Yeah.
I forgave, though. But you got the same week you got your camera, you did get what do you call it, a deep cut tattoo.
Deep cuts.
Deep cuts only.
I got a Edward Muybridge tattoo on my left forearm. So had to represent film somehow. I was like, I want a digital camera, or I don't want a film camera, like camera body or whatever. And I'm not going to brand myself with like Kodak or Leica.
Yeah, as much as we like stuff like that, we're not big into branding.
I'm like, so I was like, well, what's a good bridge between like all the things that I like, which is like motion picture and then film photography, and it's this fun like crossover because technically motion picture came before still celluloid photography. Yeah. So it kind of is a fun like predates sort of thing. So
yeah, you got the horses, like the frames of horses going across your arm.
Yep.
Which is fun. They're getting their fur back.
Yep. Very slowly. Had to shave my forearm. Got Robin Williams forearms. So maybe not. Maybe that.
I don't think you were that bad. You weren't that bad. Dan's not that hairy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Robin Williams was like a bear.
Yeah. Not that bad, but I did have to shave my long blonde arm hair off.
Yeah, you did.
But fun tattoo.
Super good tattoo, and we got that. You got that from Maddie. Yeah. So Maddie's kind of new to the lab. She came in and she's been doing a little bit of work too. True. She just started taking. That's how we met her, actually. Or no, we I think you met her before she came in, possibly. I don't know which one came first.
Chicken or the egg.
Chicken or the egg, but yeah, small town, Phoenix. Everybody ends up running into everybody eventually, anyway.
But yeah, Maddie came through, and she'll be coming back and do more printing in early July before we close up.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have to slow down a little bit. The monsoon season is upon us, and it gets really rough in the lab. But also, it helps because then we have a little bit more time to do podcasting.
Yep. So our focus is going to be that over the summer. Yep.
So next couple months, if you notice, we don't have as much stuff on our calendar. That is why, because we don't have air conditioning in the lab. We have the swamp cooler, and the swamp cooler, if anyone has one, knows once it gets a certain amount of moisture in the air, you just have a real hard time keeping it cool. So nighttime workshops, we have a few of those, which always are much better. Once the sun comes down, it becomes manageable in there. But middle of the day stuff or beginning of the day even gets a little rough. That being said, I think we have a shooting on film workshop in July.
Nope.
No, we don't? Okay, we're done. Yeah. Okay.
We held off on that.
They can be rough.
Yeah, a little brutal. I didn't want to put anybody through.
We do a photo walk. So it's like okay, even with the early start on those, because we usually start those in the summer like 8 o'clock, and then we're out doing the walk by 10. But here in Phoenix by 10, it's still killer because we've been hitting like 112, 113 or whatever now. So
we just had one last Saturday, which was kind of rough.
yeah,
but it was the 18th or something like that. 17th. Kind of brutal. But yeah, we have one workshop left, which is our color film development workshop on July 13th.
And a printing workshop. We have a printing one coming up too.
Yeah, but we're booked up for that one.
Oh, so you guys can't come. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, we do have one printing workshop coming up, and that booked up pretty quick. So that's a fun workshop.
Yeah, we wish we could go a little farther in the summer, but most people aren't shooting in the summer here either. So it sort of slows up for everybody because it's the opposite of everywhere else. Everywhere else, everyone's shooting, and then when the winter comes, you kind of buckle down, and we go the opposite way on the weather here. So we try to manage though. And unfortunately, it's the only time that we have to shoot is really when we're not at the lab so much and doing stuff like during the good weather.
Yeah.
So we're sort of stuck. We went out on a couple weekends ago and we did, I guess you didn't shoot at all, did you?
I shot a little bit of film, but not much.
Yeah. And we went out to the Superstitions and was it Superstition? No, we went out to the
Butcher Jones
and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went out and I was doing pinhole photography. And Dan, I guess, was doing a little bit there.
I was doing chauffeur.
You were chauffeuring, yeah. I was jumping out of the car because it was about, 106 that day.
Yeah, it was gross.
It was pretty gross. So we were just like literally staying along the highway, and then I'd have Dan like pull over, and then I'd go run out of the car and like shuffle over and find like a good view.
Yeah.
And I was doing pinhole, but I didn't want to do, so pinholes, when I do pinholes, I'm doing it with paper. So, your normal printing paper that I use. And I had one camera had direct positive in it, but everything else is paper. But I didn't want to go through it, like get in a bag and like switch the papers out and like all that. So what I did is I just assembled every pinhole camera I had at the lab and put a piece of paper in all of them. And then I just used each camera one time, which is kind of funny. I had like, how many cameras did I have? I think I had like 8 or 9.
Something like that, yeah.
Like pinhole cameras. So I just kept pulling out a different one.
Mini, mo.
I know, yeah. And I had to keep reminding myself, like I had to put tape on each one of them just to remind myself of like, okay, your f-stop for this one is this. Because they're all completely different. Because some of them are like cans and kind of funny. I got some not too bad images actually off of a lot of them, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, and you sold 2 prints.
I did. That wasn't from that though. Oh no, it was from that. I take that back. Yeah. Because I'm going to say lucky, but that is so the wrong word for this. So one of Dan's coworkers, her father, unfortunately has dementia. He's a much older gentleman. He lives over across the country, but he was, for lack of a better word, a film memorabilia / camera hoarder guy.
Our kind of people.
Yeah, definitely our kind of people. But anyway, so they've been selling off his stuff because he doesn't need it anymore. And we've actually gotten some really interesting things. And I got a Yashica camera. It was a Yashica, I'm going to say 635. I'm bad with numbers.
636 or something like that.
Oh, yeah, something like that. Which is actually a really nice 6x6. There's nothing wrong with it, which is, I say that because I have a Rolleiflex, a Rolleicord, and another Yashica, and all 3 of them have some sort of issue, like with light leaks and with skipping frames and like just a variety of things. But this new one is in perfect shape and everything works. So I'm really happy about that. But yeah, I did. I took some photos with that as well, which actually had some, I got lucked out with some of the light I got. We were kind of later in the day and I got some stuff. And
yeah, the glass is really clean. And so you get a really nice, really, really bright image on the glass for that. So pretty good camera.
I got some good ones, but the 2 I sold were my potty prints. So it was kind of funny because it's like one of those like camp style toilet situations, like a porta potty, but it's in a in a bathroom.
Got a vaulted toilet.
Yeah, like a vault toilet, and it was like open. But I have this. I brought a whole bunch of stuff along, little props with me that I was taking photos of from our house, and I took. I have this mannequin hand that I took with us, and I took some photos of the mannequin hand. But the one photo had the mannequin hand kind of holding open the door for the disgusting porta potty. But it was like, but thank you guys, the folks that bought my
Sold 2 prints. Boom, right off the bat.
I know. I was like, everybody likes potty. I hope they're in your potties, guys, if you're listening. I hope.
Yeah.
Photography Hill and Lisa, who's
Expert in nothing.
expert in nothing. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you guys put them in your potties. I don't know.
Fun image nonetheless.
But yes, and I appreciate those guys purchasing those, which is always nice. It's always a surprise when you have someone asking you, "Hey, can I buy that? Like a print of your work and do a darkroom print."
Yeah,
it's always nice. It's
fun.
Very complimentary.
Yeah, those cameras are pretty cool.
The cameras are really cool. They're crazy. You got a whole bunch of we got a bunch of stuff. So we got frisbees. And we got golf balls and
we actually have
Kodak stuff. It's like a lot of Kodak branded things.
Yeah, we got like 8 frisbees and I already gave one of them away. So
the next, watch out, guys, because the last meetup we had, I was throwing film. God forbid I get a frisbee in my hand.
I gave frisbees to Stacy instead to throw.
You guys are in trouble.
But they're really cool. Fun branded Kodak frisbees. We got some
it's like
other fun Kodak stuff. A little mug.
Yep. Golf ball.
We got a
some bags.
Kodak Racing fanny pack, so that's cool.
Yeah, the fanny pack's pretty neat.
We actually have 5 SX70s, which is kind of a weird haul.
Those were pretty cool.
So
they're in good shape.
They're all in relatively like good shape. One of them's like mint.
Yeah, it looks like it just came out of a factory. It's so new.
So we may sell a couple to pay off some of the other basically the other hauls that we've brought in, and then we may end up giving one of the SX70s away. Those things are like fun.
Yeah, that might be cool.
So
and then we were thinking about, I was just talking about it today, I want to do a bingo night at the lab. Yep. So we'll wait for the weather to get better, but then so we can have the doors open in the backyard and everything. But I think bingo would be really fun. And the prizes, we could do some of the stuff that we got, because we're sort of collecting right now for get-togethers, so we can give away some stuff. But we will give away some of this branded stuff, and I think a bingo night would be pretty fun. Yeah. Sort of an alternative to, you get together, and sometimes you get together and it's just, okay, a photo walk. But I think a bingo night would be kind of fun at the lab.
Film bingo night with film and camera giveaways.
Yeah, why not? So we're probably going to do that. I'd say October is probably where we'll be.
Yeah, probably
just
later
the weather
October.
takes a while, because even here October's can be kind of hot. So probably end of October, because you can still be.
You can have a Halloween bingo night.
We could have a Halloween bingo night. Yeah, we were talking about that too. We were talking about possibly doing something Halloween. The only problem is it runs into, we have Terror Trader, I think.
Yeah, we've got a Terror Trader event, but that's not till the end of August.
It's August. Yeah, so it gets a little tricky. But I think a Halloween event would be a lot of fun. Yeah. At the lab as well. So something filmed. So keep an eye out for our Instagrams and everything. We'll definitely announce something. But I'm excited about some of those cameras. So we got
that.
The 110 cameras.
The 110 camera haul was pretty awesome.
We got like 30
Hulk Hogan cameras? 25 20 or 24.
Was it 24? Okay, yeah, it was a fair amount. The Hulk Hogan one's amazing, and the there's 2 Ninja Turtle ones. So and these are all like 80s ones. They're not like anything new. And the 90s. Hulk one, yeah, I guess it'd be 90s. Are they all 90s? There might be a couple 80s.
Yeah, 90s.
90s Hulk, and then the Turtles one, those in print in all of your photos, a picture of the Hulk, and the ones of the Turtles, put the Turtles on your photo.
So you get Hulk Hogan in your shot, which,
it's hilarious.
Awesome. Or the Ninja Turtles. So, and then we've got Nintendo 64.
There's a Pepsi can one. Which
the Pepsi can one's cool.
That one's amazing. It's a 35 millimeter one too. That one's not even a 110. We may have to sell that one just to pay for the other ones.
Yeah, we'll see. We might throw that up for sale.
Because that one's kind of worth something. They're actually the Hulk's kind of worth something too. So we may not give away those two.
The Hulk and the Pepsi are like still packaged in their original packaging.
Yeah, a few of these are already packaged.
There's a Crayola,
Velveeta.
Yeah,
the Newport, the cigarette.
Yeah, the green
Newport
green
cigarettes is funny.
Orange, pink, like neon orange, pink.
Yep. Mario is in there. There's some crazy.
There's like a Mickey Mouse one. Where's Waldo?
Yep.
It was great. Yeah.
There's one for ragu pasta sauce, which is the one that's like
it's disposable. It's a disposable 35 millimeter one.
It's so confusing to me. I'm like, ragu had these?
Yeah.
Your pasta sauce, you get camera.
It's so strange.
It's a weird partnership, but
Yeah, the promotional stuff back then was kind of weird. There's Crayola,
And gets packaged.
Fisher Price as well.
And these are all they appear to have never been used, by the way. Like some of them are not packaged, but they all like he labeled everything. So he had like this extensive
Inventory
collection.
number.
So they all have little inventory numbers on them because he was kind of keeping them and just collecting them. I don't know. Was he much of a photographer? Did she say?
I don't know. I'll have to ask.
I'm curious if he just like was more of a collect kind of guy than
I
a
think
shoot
he
kind of
probably
guy.
was like, occasionally shoot sort of thing. But I would imagine he shot film. But it's weird because there wasn't much film in the haul of stuff that he's got. But doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't, didn't really have any film. He kind of stopped shooting film and kind
She
of gave
hasn't opened the
away.
fridge yet.
Yeah, I know.
There's some deep freeze or something in her garage.
That would be awesome.
She pops it
I'll
open.
have to ask on that. I know there's boxes and boxes of stuff, so it's just like an awesome haul and relatively decent price because we'll be giving away a lot of that stuff. So.
And I think she's really grateful. It's just going to people that are going to enjoy it. And
yeah, we got a Kodak camera or Kodak clock, which is going to be coming our way.
The Kodak clock's cool. I'm excited to put that up in the lab.
It's like a 15-inch clock that's square and says Kodak on it. But the cool thing about it is it's got the special glass that's like blown to fit into that frame size. And then it also lights up behind it too. So really, really fun stuff. So
yeah, that'll be fun to give away a lot of that stuff. Like, I mean, we don't want to become that guy.
Yeah, it's fun when we have it, but it's fun giving it
away as well. So. Yeah, I mean, we have so much stuff in the lab, so we try to circle through as much as we possibly can as far as getting stuff out there in the world. And if you guys can, shoot those cameras too, that's awesome. Because I mean, you can only have so many on your shelf, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it gets ridiculous. But oh goodness, what else have we been doing? Ryan and Ruby.
Yeah, Ryan and Ruby.
So Ryan, who we've had a podcast before with, talked a lot about trains and photography and racing and Ryan things. But they had a baby. Yeah. They had a baby the day before Father's Day. So Ryan woke up on Father's Day, a dad.
Congratulations, Ryan and Ruby.
I know. I was a little offended that they did not name it after like the lab or anything because they were brought together by PFR. Yeah. So a marriage so far. And
Ruby took Ryan's workshop and his history.
That's exactly how they met. Yep. Brian gave was it the shooting at night workshop?
Night photography workshop.
Which we have to bring back. I feel like that might even work in the summer because I mean it's hot, but yeah, we'll have to fit one of those in. So
shooting sun doesn't go down till like 9
I know. Yeah, it'd be a late one.
Maybe the winter. We'll see. I think once we get into October, cooler months, late October, we'll see about doing that.
Yeah, we're planning on bringing in more workshops as well than we were doing there because we kind of stuck to our core, I guess, this fall.
Yeah, beginning of this year was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Very busy for us in the lab, obviously.
Yeah, we've been booking out like pretty much consistently.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Kind of focused there, and just got really busy with my day job, and staying busy. But yeah, we're gonna we'll do more cyanotype and pinhole, and definitely open those up. We want to do some more workshops like that, and I definitely want to do a creative photography workshop or lecture. Yeah, I'm not sure which just yet, but. We've done a lot of the technical stuff showing, but I think it would be good to have some dialogue on the creative end of things in the darkroom and outside the darkroom. But yeah. Yep.
I want to do Morton Sage. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it. I just have to figure out how to do it safely so nobody gets hurt. But I think that'd be a great one to do.
It would be like a $300, $400 workshop.
It might be, with a free mask. But you get a free gas mask.
A free $100 gas mask. We'll see. It's
or bring your own, pay extra, or bring your own.
Required equipment for the workshop.
Yeah, that's the tough one. It's the safety equipment more than anything because we don't want anyone getting hurt. And then also just being able to lecture about while having a gas mask on can be like kind of a thing. I've brought in a few friends in with me just to kind of do that and see the process. But it's a tricky not super safe. So I just don't want to hurt anybody. But I also think a lot of people would have a lot of fun. And I think I've mentioned this before on the podcast. I'm pretty certain I have. But it's kind of like a Polaroid lift. How you like lift a Polaroid. You can do that for silver gelatin printing. It's just kind of dangerous, and
yeah, you really have to.
You get lots of fumes, but you could dry clean your lungs, and you could go blind if you got it in your eyes, and like so. There's a lot. Your skin could be really messed up, and you have to do it in a safe space. So it's one of those things where if you take it in our lab, you're not necessarily going to take it back home, and it's really for folks that have a little more advanced. You already have prints, and you're basically destroying said prints.
Yeah.
But I love it. I think it's like the coolest process. I really enjoy doing it. It's just like a real mess in the lab, even clean up and, everything and setting up is kind of a thing. And we have a large lab with a lot of space and it's just a mess, but I'd love to do it. So keep an eye out in the fall, especially folks that listen to us that print and want to try Mortensage at least once. It'll be a good opportunity to do so. We'll figure it out and we'll get it on the calendar. Yeah. And then definitely more pinhole and definitely more cyanotype ones. A lot of people are doing cyanotype. More and more people are doing cyanotype. I've seen that seems to be picking up a lot online. I haven't actually done a lot of cyanotype. I kind of end up going on these other little different tangents and things that I'm doing, but I was doing 3D.
Yeah, Stacey recently found a 3D viewer for
the stereo viewers,
a decent price.
Yeah, that was the big thing. I've had, like, you've seen the stereo cards. So they have like 2 images and they're offset just a teeny tiny bit. And then you put them in the viewer and they look 3D and they're really amazing. But the old school, like, from early 1900s viewers, if you go to like antique stores, they're always like a lot of money. And I just never willing to pay it. And I say a lot of money. It's like $100 usually for those things when I find them. And if they're broke, you can maybe find them for like 50, 60. But normally I can't find one. And I found one recently at a thrift store and it was $14 in pristine condition. Perfect. Like from like 1912 or whatever. So I was really, really excited about it. And I got some cabinet cards and they look amazing. But then I realized that I had a Kodak 3D stereo camera that I've taken photos with before. And I made like online GIFs with them. GIFs. I've made online GIFs before. So because it offsets it, it's like it takes a normal 35 roll. And then every you have 2 shots, each eye has a shot. And then it's like separated. So like every 4th shot is like the photo. So it's kind of interesting when you see like after shooting it to put it all together and scan it and kind of separate them all out and everything. But I realized I already had some scanned. So I took them and Dan helped print them out and I printed them out into my own cabinet cards. So now I have a whole bunch of my own stereo view cabinet cards that look kind of amazing. Yeah. I have no way really to show it. It's like one of those things where people have to just kind of see it in person. So if you ever come to our house, and I'll try to get it to the lab at some point so you can see them, but it's really fun. So I'm excited to actually shoot more with the Kodak camera because I can make some actual stereo view cameras. It feels like it feels very pure analog minus like the printing out part, but I probably could do some darkroom print ones as well, which I think would be even funner. Like, so I could just start doing darkroom print ones. So it'd just be black and white.
Yeah. Got to print them at that exact size.
Yeah. The size is important. It's like a 3x3 square, but the Kodak's nice. It's not like a half frame or anything. It's like you get a square image. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
But yeah, fun process.
Yeah. That's super fun. I'm excited about doing that. So, yeah, I don't know. We've just been kind of busy. I've been trying to push a little bit more and do more printing. So anytime we have open labs, if only one person signs up, usually I'll jump in there because we have enough room in the lab where 2 people can be printing. Yep. So I'll just print my work. So I just sort of been going through old work that I haven't printed. It's interesting. I was having a conversation the other day with Tanisa about that, with how you first shoot something, you scan it or you print it and you're like, it's okay. But then you go back to it, like say you forget about it and you're like a year later, you go look at it. It always looks so different than my first initial view of my work. I'm like, oh, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Or like, it's interesting how you get kind of a fresh view. I think it's like the memory of like the trip or what you were doing kind of muddies it. I think I printed a bunch that we did over by Four Peaks. We went on a trip. Tanisa was with us on that trip as well. We were going up north, and my car, the lights on the brake lights went out, and we couldn't figure out what had happened. We couldn't like get it fixed. It was getting nighttime, so we had to like rush back, and we never really got to do what we were kind of going there to do.
Yeah.
But part of the trip, we stopped briefly at the Superstitions, and we were taking some photos on that. I don't know what that road is. There's like a back road that gets you pretty close, or to Four Peaks, and it gets you pretty close to Four Peaks. So you kind of have a nice view, and we had a nice sunset there. And I took photos, and then when I remember developing the photos and looking at them and being like, oh, God. But I think my, oh, God, was because my car was broke, and we had to rush back, and we didn't really get to take all the photos we wanted to. So I think my memory of like that trip kind of muddied the actual photos, and I thought they weren't great. But then I went back to that, and that was a few months back, and I went back and printed some of them. I'm like, some of these were really, really nice shots.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting when you like take that break and you look back. And so I have this new thing where I'm thinking like I just shoot and then I just sit on them for a while, and then I print later. So I've been kind of going back through my photos and kind of going back to reprint.
Rediscover the moment.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them too, like I started printing when I just started printing. So my printing skills have increased. I'm better. I can like, dodge burn properly. I can filter properly now. I can, I understand how all that works, and a lot better than just over time. It's gotten better. So I'm able to kind of rework stuff that maybe didn't look as good because I wasn't printing at the same level that I was before. So I'm kind of revisiting things. So that's been a lot of fun. I've been happy that I kind of blew through a ton of paper recently, which was unusual for me, but it was great. I'm happy to be doing that.
All the Limbe 14 and up paper just kind of disappeared out of the lab.
It did. It really did. Yeah. Got to get a little bit more. And I broke into some of that fancy paper that you got me over Christmas. Even I was sitting on it for a long time, but that paper was really scary for a while. That I always forget the name of the paper company.
Hannemule.
Thank you. They make very, very, very nice papers, and then they send it off to Ilford, and Ilford puts their the goop on it. Yeah, they make, so it's like this weird, it's beautiful paper. It's like fiber paper can have like this thickness to it, but this is like a pure art paper. So when you print on it, it looks almost like a painting on it.
It's like a textured fine art.
It's very textured. Yeah, it's sort of like, and even working with it, it's sort of like this weird mix of fiber and RC, but kind of pushing a little more toward fiber. But I was really hesitant to use it. I was doing the math. I think it's like $8 a sheet. So even the test strips, I was like, oh, just scary.
But I think that comes in like 16 by 20 sheets or something like that. It was kind of bigger.
It was a bigger box. Yeah, for sure. But still, like, scary.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, definitely busy with the lab. We were scheduled to do a couple portrait booths, but
we backed out of that one.
Yeah, we had one that was scheduled, I think, for April?
Something in there.
Early April. I think it was early April.
It was in Tucson.
Yeah, Wild Wild West Con, which was, it seemed like it could have been really fun, but the casino got hacked.
They were hacked for a long time too. So, a casino to get hacked is a little sketch. We were going to stay there on property, and their ATMs didn't work. So no one could get cash out. They couldn't take reservations. They had everything by paper. So people coming in, and they also had like 2 towers there of hotel rooms, and they had to walk people to their rooms to let them in.
That was the
their rooms.
Final straw.
I was like, it was putting up all the little tiny, when you see those little tiny red flags that pop up for an event or just anything, I listen to those red flags. I'm like, too many of those have now popped off. So we had backed out because we're like, you know what? I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and the communication there wasn't the best with that particular event. The event staff, it was just kind of, I don't know. It just didn't work out for us.
Yeah, we did not feel comfortable doing it. So
and then there was Jerome festival that we were going to do.
They canceled that
and
anyway.
We told them we couldn't make it.
That was when my car was doing car things.
Yeah.
So we didn't feel super comfortable going up. If you've ever been up to Jerome,
We have to load our car with all sorts of heavy equipment.
Yeah, our car ends up getting incredibly heavy and kind of, I'm going to say overloaded. It probably is a little overloaded. But to make that hill up into Jerome. So we canceled that. But then they actually canceled the event itself.
Yeah.
So that kind of worked out anyway.
I guess we should check to see if we can get our deposit back. Think about that.
That's a good question. Well, they postponed, so I suppose, but we probably should ask for that back because I totally didn't even think about that. We had already paid them. But
we do have one coming up. So Terror Traders, our next event that we're scheduled for, and that's one of the better ones. That's actually one of the better ones that we do. So don't quote me, but I think it's August 25th and 26th, or
that sounds
26th, 27th,
right.
somewhere towards the end of August.
What do they call that? So it's
Gathering of the Ghouls.
The Gathering of the Ghouls.
That'll be at Mesa Convention Center.
Yeah. I think they've already sold a lot of tickets because they do ticket packages, so you can do, because it's a multi-day event, so it's 2 days.
Yeah. And Saturday runs from 11 to 8, and then Sunday is 11 to 4.
Oh, you already know the hours. That's
what it was last year, so I'm thinking it'll be very similar to this year.
But it's a super fun event. There's a lot of photo ops too. So if you just go and like want to take photos of people in costumes, like people dress up like really great horror themed costumes at that event. And there's like, that's just a really chill event too, as far as the vendors and the people that show up. Yeah. And they also have celebrities that go too. Yeah. So they get all kinds of crazy people.
Stacey got to meet E.T.'s mom.
E.T.'s mom was there, yeah. Dee Wallace was at the last one. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, you're E.T.'s stepmom. Yeah. She was super, super, super sweet. So it was nice to meet her. But yeah, I'm excited to do that event again because it's just such a fun crowd. Yep. And people are kind of ready for a photo. Like a lot of people are just like dressed up and looking cool. Yeah. Still kind of hot, but fortunately this is an indoor event. We're indoors and we don't have too far to go outside from where the load unload area is, which is great. They make it like the people that organize that which are the owners of Terror Trader, they do such a good job. Yeah. Like that's such a well-run event. Those folks are just like so communicative with everybody that attends. And they hire really good people to aid in, coordinating it and handling it. Yeah. So. They do an amazing job. And I think they were trying to make it bigger. I'm not sure how. I think there might be some other rooms that they can fill up. Yeah. At the convention center because it just gets such a turnout there, which is so cool. So I am excited to do We'll be dressed up as blown up scientists again. Yes, we're going to go with Mad Scientist again. It makes sense for the It's really fun to do that costume. So tattered up lab coats and I get to spike my hair back like I just blew up. Yeah. We'll make it happen. Yep. And then we did what was our last event? It was Front Row Motor Show. Front Row Motor Show, yeah. Which was right before summer hit, but it was inside, which was nice because it was hot. I felt kind of bad. They had vendors outside that were roasting. But the Front Row Motor Show is the guys that do the 1110 Garage here in Phoenix. They put that on, and it's a big motorcycle event. Yeah. Which is super fun. They have that over at the Walter Studios. Unfortunately, when you're inside with a vendor, we're in the back rooms. If you've ever been there, it's sort of like this weird little hidden thing. And we were in I don't know what that room, what would you call that room? The psychedelic room. Psychedelic cave room. Yep. Yeah, it was sort of a crazy cavey room back there. So if you ever go to the Walter Studios on 7th Ave and Roosevelt, go in that room. It's so weird, but we were like shooting in there. And originally we were going to be in the library room, but Chris decided to put us in there with other photographers. He didn't know. Poor Chris didn't know. Yeah. So we had, there was tintype folks there. So we were doing our paper type direct positive booth. And then there was tintype guys there as well, but in the library, which there would have been room for all of us. But unfortunately, we all have flashes and strobes going off. You can't do that. Everybody's strobes would be going off with everybody else's setting them. It just wouldn't work. But he didn't know that. The guy that was organizing it didn't occur to him, which, you know, you don't know, right? It's really that ain't going to work. So we set up in the cave instead. So it was a little slow event, I got to say, just for us, just because of where we were in the building. And that wasn't the fault of really anybody. But it was still fun. I mean, the crowd that goes, but it was really nice because we got to meet Joseph and Eric.
Yeah. Joseph Wyman and Eric Ritterbusch.
Yeah.
Both amazing tintypers.
So good.
At first we were a little standoffish. We're like, what are you guys doing here? But after chatting with them for a while and seeing what they do and them seeing what we do, it was actually a good chance to meet up and connect with those guys. So
yeah, it really was. Joseph, he drives everywhere. He has like kind of a mobile tintype studio, but he has a van and
live in the van.
I guess is it more of a bus? It's more of a bus.
It's technically a bus.
Yeah, but he lives in it and drives literally all over the country. He is constantly everywhere, and he drives and he just does tintyping just everywhere, and he's got it down. He can do a tintype in like 20 minutes. I mean, the varnish is like an extra thing. He does it later, but he's really quick with tintype, which is like
and his lighting's like right on the dot.
So good.
And there's something that we kind of compared. We didn't really think too much, but the varnish on a tintype is really important. And we were comparing a couple of tintypes that we've gotten before. Just, you know, there's a variety in the quality that you get on a tintype. And so it didn't quite occur to us until after we were kind of comparing our old ones and our new ones that were like, wow, this is
and realized there was
really
such
a
swing on the varnishing portion of a tintype.
It's varnishing, but it's also the chemicals and the process that is used. I think Joseph was using he was definitely using ether.
100%. You worked in the library.
Very strong.
Ooh. But I could smell that.
Yeah.
Beautiful work though.
Yeah. The blacks on the tintype, amazing. And the white point is also just on the money.
It really is.
But we got one done with him. And Eric was actually shooting a lot as well. He was shooting outside. Yeah. He
was doing big groups, and he does panoramic tintype.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. You don't see that very often at all.
Yeah. I think he had like a 617 back or something like that. It was a really wide plate that he was shooting.
Yeah, he was getting tons of people and motorcycles and stuff. He was getting some really, really good shots.
Like 10, 20 people in one of these shots. And, you know, if you know tintype, you got to have a lot of light. And it's not something that's easy to balance, especially when you're not using strobes. So somehow he managed to get that really well.
He did really good. He's based out of Flag.
Yeah.
So he's not too far away.
Eric's in Flag, and Joseph's been cruising around.
Yeah, I don't know where you'd say. I mean, I guess he's based out of, he was a giveaway. He said there was a message, and he said Yins, and I'm like, you from Pittsburgh? That's a very Pittsburgh word. So yeah, I guess he's been based out of Pennsylvania. I guess would be his base.
I suppose. Yeah.
But if you watch his Instagram, it's amazing how much miles he covers, just kind of on a constant basis.
He's doing a project now where he shoots, and in his day he takes a bunch of photos and
little videos and stuff. Yeah,
groups it together. So it's like 5 seconds in a day in 5 seconds. So
I thought it was 30 seconds, something like that. But yeah, his Eric Wyman. You can find him if you just go on Instagram, and then Eric Ritterbusch.
Eric Ritterbusch and Joseph Wyman.
Yep.
But that was really fun. And then we also got pictures of them on paper types.
Yeah, that was cool. We got to give them paper types as well, which they don't get to do that too often. And a lot of people have never seen in the paper type booth. No one's really doing it. So
and we were definitely struggling trying to hit our exposure again.
It was hard in that room for some reason.
Yeah,
we had to take a lot of test shots.
And it wasn't until Eric came over and posed for us, and then we nailed it.
We finally got it. Yeah, it was like I felt bad. A few of the first people were kind of rough. We did that one couple. I think we did 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
We're like, sorry, you guys are the first ones, but we did give it to them for free because we were like, you guys get to be
sorry guys.
You guys actually helped us. So sometimes it's just hard. The setup is a little hard, and just getting the lights like that paper too is just it can be very frustrating. So hopefully we can get it dialed in quicker when we go to a Terra Trader and we don't have to worry about it too much.
Yeah, we did get some new strobes, so those are helping
and then
sure.
They're helping, but now we have to like focus a little bit more on where they're at, and it just sort of throws the whole thing back into like from square one.
Yeah.
As far as like, how do I set this up? Back when we had our other ones, we knew where it was and we set it up, and then we got these new things, and now it's like thrown off that balance. So we're like, oh, we gotta rearrange and get it, but we'll get back into there and we'll be okay.
Yeah, so we have that. We might do the witchcraft market again.
Maybe.
There's a market that we do, which is, I think it's like, is it December? And then there's one in like October?
I think it'll be October. It'll be the next one. They haven't announced it yet, so they don't have, like, the signups usually happen in July. So we'll probably hear about it soon and we'll know for sure.
Usually we're pretty good about getting
but usually we're outside.
Yeah.
That's tricky with our temps over. I have to put ice packs in the box because the chems get too hot. So it can be a little tricky, but we usually can have a fan there because we have an electrical. They're really sweet to us there because they give us, no one has electric, but they give us electric.
Yeah, because we're right in that corner.
Yep, they post us up in a corner, but it's always outside, so it's a little much. Yeah, but then what else we got going on? We have Grand Avenue Festival will be coming back.
Yep.
So November 9th. And it should be a lot of people. They're expecting about 10,000 people to come out for Grand Avenue Fest.
Yeah.
And this year, hopefully, and it sounds like it's happening. I don't know if it's 100% final yet, but they're going to close down the street. So, which if you've ever been on Grand's kind of a highway going through there.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to have an event with like lots of people and have a fully functional road going through it. So having it shut down will be amazing.
Yeah, July 1st we got to go to a meeting and see what the story is on that. So
we'll find out for sure if it's actually gonna close down. I hope so. That's what it sounds like it's happening. So we'll have similar event to what we did last year. We're pretty certain we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna let people sell prints in the lab and do probably a yard sale in the back again.
Yeah, we're gonna work out the logistics for that. So that's in progress.
Yeah, because people always have stuff they need to get rid of. So that'll be good. But just to have people's art available and for sale to a general crowd with a lot of foot traffic is super important to us.
Yeah.
And also printing, have people printed work, like actual real life work.
Yeah.
Super, super important to have that. So.
Yeah, and last year everybody sold a piece.
Everybody sold something.
At least one piece. So.
Yep. Which is really, really great. It's so nice to hear that. I know I sold like a weird amount of stuff. I always kind of underpriced just because I have this weird backlog of printed stuff that I just want to kind of get out of my life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, nice. So it'll be great for people to be able to sell. But we'll put up, there'll be guardrails to that. It can't just be anything. We want to have actual like printed / mounted like backing board and framed, like properly done prints this year. We want to do them a little nicer than we did, and a little bit more organized in the lab as well. So, but we'll put out stuff on Instagram and our website and everything when we get a little closer, but we'll give people plenty of notice. So that's like November 9th. So beginning of October latest, we'll make sure, we're giving people information so you guys can get ready and start printing your work to sell in the lab and get some of your stuff out into the world. Yeah,
that'll be a fun event. I think 6 years on Grand is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
time flies.
Yeah, and hopefully we can do a zine as well. We've been talking about that.
Yeah, that's another thing in the works this summer.
So,
zines are fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually not as challenging as they seem. I think the coordination on it is a little tricky, but we've done a few things in the past 6 years that require a lot of coordination. So I think we'll pull it off, and I think we're gonna do a community zine. We'll get everyone can submit, and then we'll do a pre-sale, and that'll basically you're kind of like buying your own zine, and that's kind of like your admission to get into the zine, and then I guess. It'll
be good. I'm excited to do that.
Yeah.
And then but once again, always great to have printed stuff.
Yeah.
The printed stuff's amazing, but to do something for the community and have like a community zine out there with everybody that's sort of,
Yeah.
prints, it'd be just really great. So we're definitely going to put that together. That'll probably be sooner than later because that'll take a little while to kind of gather everything we need and get it printed. And it'd be nice to have that ready for Grand F Fest and have it actually available to the public as well. Sort of like the Phoenix community zine of photographers. So be on the alert for that. I don't know if we'll do a theme or if we'll do a color or black and white or both. We haven't figured any of that stuff out yet. So we'll figure something out and make sure we get you guys all the details on how we're actually going to work it. But
yeah, I think it'll be fun. And I think we'll have, it's like you can submit 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 photos, something like that. And then might be like, cost a little extra, submit more sort of thing.
mm-hmm.
But we have to figure out like how many zines that we got to get, how many pages the book's going to be, what the theme is, all the text that goes into it. It would be nice to have a page in there that kind of was a description of the zine itself, and then then have some copies in the lab to sell to help support the lab. But
yeah, I love that, and I love that to be available when people come in. Is from people always want to help and take part, and it's like, what's the best way to do that? And I think having community work available to buy, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely want to do that. So we'll get some info out to you guys soon, and you'll be able to put some photos together and get in the book. And yeah, that'll be super cool. And then folks in the lab actually selling would be really good as well. And then we'll probably get a photo walk together. That tends to be January.
Yeah, we'll see. It would be nice to do one sooner, between October and December, but
it gets tricky with the holidays and everybody.
There's been a little bit of a trend that we do a photo walk at the end of January. So everybody gets through the holidays and everybody's getting settled. The weather's still really nice. It's not too cold.
Yeah.
And we'll probably do the same sort of thing where we have a DJ out back, and then we'll have, food and drink, and we'll do another scavenger hunt type thing and see if we can get even more people out this time around. We had 100 people out last year.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to get that many people. And it was a little scary because we were like, can we actually handle that many people? But now after having that many people in, I think we can. As long as we have that backyard open, we're okay.
Yeah. And we managed to get that 4x5 shot. I was
We did, yeah.
I was like, oh man, it's going to be out of focus.
I was a little worried about you up there.
I was like, oh man, this isn't going to come out. This isn't going to look good. And
Dan was on a very tall ladder with a very tall tripod. How big's that tripod? That tripod goes up to how many feet?
That was like, I don't know, 12 feet, something like that.
It's a ridiculous tripod. So he was at the tripod. He had a bee that was like
being friendly
all over him, being friendly.
But
I was doing it up on the ladder, but you managed to get like a nice.
Almost everybody's face is in focus.
Everybody is in focus in that photo.
Yep.
And the photo itself had, I think, it was like 90 people or something. Not everybody made it back from the walk in time. But
yeah, and the way the lighting was, the sun was directly behind me. And so everybody was like
lit,
blasted in the face with light.
Yeah, everybody's squinting a little bit in the photo.
So
I know
it's like everybody's staring at a eclipse or something.
Yeah, but better than having everybody in the shadow. I'd rather have it like that. But yeah, we have enough room where we could add a lot more people in that backyard and still be able to get a nice group shot of everybody as well.
Yeah.
We have that hanging up in the lab, so if you ever come in the lab, you can see the shot of everybody. Yeah, I'm excited to do that again. We'll make it bigger and better, and we'll get the better prizes. We got to talk to Kodak. We think we have a connection at Kodak.
Yeah, Tim. If you guys know Tim over at Kodak, he usually posts up at a lot of these photo walks and meetups and gives out all sorts of fun Kodak film and merch and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so it'd be super cool to have Tim there. So we'll talk to him early. Because he starts booking up for that stuff. So luckily for us, January, the rest of the country, not so great. Yeah. So
maybe we'll be lucky. Maybe we can get him on the podcast too. I did briefly talk to him before about being on the podcast. So we'd love to chat with him and see what.
Just Kodak, like what it's like being in that company for
Yeah,
he's been there for a long time.
Oh man, I don't even remember him saying like 15, 20, 25 years, something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Long enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely staying busy with everything going on.
Yeah. What else has happened? Oh, we should give a big shout out to Joe, Tempe Camera.
Yeah. Just recently, Joe, I can't say his last name.
Wojcik. I feel like I'm saying it wrong, but yeah.
The owner of Tempe Camera recently passed away. And that's a huge loss for everybody in the film community. If you guys know Joe, he's just an amazing guy. I never got a chance to personally meet him, although I've heard many stories about him, and many of the people that I work with have stories about him. And this was like he's a huge proponent to the community here. And
since 1972. So
yeah,
it's a long run.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's a shame. I think he was 77.
Yeah,
I think is what he was. So too young. 77's. I mean, you think, oh, that's old. That's not that old. So yeah, kind of a shame. Hopefully Tempe Camera and everybody's doing all right over there. I think they have 30 some employees. And he's been there for so long, and he's been working this entire time too. He wasn't retired. He was fully working there.
I think he was retired, but he would come back in the shop and
he was still active.
Hang out there and work on cameras. But
yeah.
Tremendous loss for the community here.
Absolutely. So rip Joe.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. I guess happier news. Pentax has released a brand new camera to the world, which you don't say that much about film cameras anymore. So that's
I wanted to rant, and maybe I'll rant a little bit, but my 2 cents on Pentax is, I don't know. I'm split a little bit with that whole situation. The Pentax 17, the Pentax 17.
Pentax 17, which is a half frame camera, and it costs $499.
So $500 for a half frame camera.
New, and it doesn't have a lot of controls on it.
So if you're not an avid shooter, but you're listening to this podcast, essentially there's a split between the film community. There's a lot of younger people who are just getting into film, and they're newer to this realm, I guess.
Yeah.
And there's older people who have been shooting and are more versed with all these different cameras, and there's a little bit of a clash between the two right now. Yeah. So essentially Pentax has been around for quite a while, and when we mention a new film camera, or not a new film camera, when we mention a camera to a new photographer, we usually mention the Pentax K1000.
Yep, that's a workhorse.
Which is an amazing camera for the fact that it's all mechanical. If there's no batteries, not a big deal. You just shoot Sunny 16. Amazing camera. So Pentax has just been phenomenal with that particular model. There's also the Pentax 6.7.
Mm-hmm.
It's
amazing.
Pentax 645, and a few other Pentax cameras that are amazing. But for whatever reason, they decided with this new camera that they're going to release to go the route of doing a half frame, which is kind of a strange direction to move in. But if you think about it, a lot of the people who are actively shooting tons and tons of film and not really caring too much about the quality are the younger crowd just getting into film, and they bring in disposable cameras to concerts or group events or that sort of thing. And you're kind of limited there because you only get about 27 shots depending on the type of disposable camera you get. But the half frame's awesome in the sense that you're able to double your number. So you load up a roll of 36 exposures, you're actually getting 72, or 24 turns into 48. So you're getting quite a few shots on this particular camera. The downside is you're halving the resolution essentially of your shot. But it's in portrait mode, so that kind of matches when you take a photo to what you would have on your phone. So you're shooting vertical.
Yeah.
And so your images are going to be vertical for the most part. And so it's more of a camera that's meant for a younger crowd to get into film photography. One of the cool things is that you don't change the lens out on this camera. It's a fixed lens, which is kind of cool in the sense that you're able to not worry about having to buy an expensive piece of glass to put on your camera. But there's also the downside of not being able to do much more with that particular camera. You're spending $500 on a camera you're not able to upgrade, essentially, or experiment with. So it's kind of a weird direction that Pentax went in. I'm kind of split. I think it's a good thing because it's opening up another group of photographers who didn't quite exist before, or if they were, they're relatively new. And while there's a lot of people who are upset about this particular camera, it's not meant for you. There's a lot of people out there that want a new Pentax K1000. They want a new large format camera. They want all these other things, but there's so many challenges that come with that. One of the things is if Pentax chose to, instead of releasing a camera with a fixed lens, and instead released a camera that used the same glass as your Pentax 6.7 or any of these other cameras that already exist, that would cause the glass to skyrocket. All of those cameras would be that much more of a challenge to get a hold of. So yeah, it's kind of a strange camera, but I mean, if I could afford it, I'd probably buy one. And
yeah, I mean, it's amazing just to have a new one available, which is really cool to have. I'm hoping it sells well enough where the other companies and Pentax think about making another camera that's meant for more photographers. This is meant for people that aren't really necessarily photographers. They like to take photos and they like that it's, something different and analog. So it's definitely a good thing, 100%. But when it came out, I think a lot of folks like us and other folks that have a more traditional style camera and we want to print and things like that, it's like, oh, bummer, but this isn't for me.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. It was like the excitement of like, okay, oh, film camera's coming. And then it comes and you're like, but that's not quite what I want.
Yeah.
So it's like, it felt like that to a lot of folks. So it's sort of like this back and forth of like, people are like, oh, is it really worth it? But to folks that, like you were saying, like the younger folks that like, they're shooting primarily on a disposable camera, this is a good entryway for them and might spark something for them. But, if you're somebody that wants to like print your photos and stuff, a half frame is not exciting.
Yeah, and it doesn't really benefit us other than there's going to continue to be people buying film. And so
yeah, and that's always a good thing for all of us. And
it encourages people to continue shooting and buying film, and you kind of get more shots on your roll.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, oh, Pentax didn't listen to us, and what is this? This is crap. But in the reality, it's kind of a good camera. It bridges the gap and it fills this void that we didn't really realize that existed.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting more photographers out there, which is important. We're broadening that. Is the market saturated with film photographers? I mean, I guess so, but that doesn't make things worse. I mean, people are going to shoot and they're going to do what they want. But we need to keep film alive, and I think this is a great way of continuing that. I think the best thing that I think the next mark for Pentax would be for them to release a equivalent to Pentax K1000.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
A 35 millimeter film camera that has a functioning light meter that is affordable. I'd spend $500 on a brand new. Yeah, I absolutely would. Absolutely. And you have the controls. Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. It's almost like a point and shoot half frame. So. And
I think the aspect of being able to throw in any film is amazing.
Yeah.
But go them for, actually putting forth the effort to do this.
Yeah, really. I mean, when everybody else is like cutting back on everything,
Yeah.
they were like, you know what? Let's do it. Like that's a thing. Like that's amazing for film.
Like some people want to say, oh, they're just cashing in on it. But in reality,
That's a big risk. They took a big risk and they had to have calculated that to a certain extent as well.
Yeah.
That's a ton of money that just happened there for them to make that actually a real thing.
Yeah. It's definitely a decision that had to have been made with a lot of insight.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
Seems like an interesting camera. It's got doesn't have an auto rewind, which you would think, with a modern camera, brand new camera, you wouldn't have a manual rewind. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the rewind mechanism is a high failure rate. And this is just kind of dummy proofing this camera down the road. And I mean, if you're shooting film and you don't know how to rewind,
I know it's not like that much of a burden to rewind your film.
Yeah, it's an extra couple seconds, and I think that's something that it's a rite of passage when you lose a roll of film because you didn't rewind it.
Absolutely.
So
that totally happens.
So I think this is a good thing, and it's I'm not sure if it's DX coded. I don't know if it's got a.
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
A thing on there to read the DX code, and I'll have to look this up after that.
I suspect no, but
yeah,
because it doesn't seem to have a lot of bells and whistles, so I feel like that might be an extra bell and whistle it would not have.
Yeah, but I think
does it have a light meter?
Yeah, it's got a light meter. It's got some weird features to it that are kind of odd because it's got zone focus, which you pick your settings. So kind of like with the Holga, where you would say, I don't even think you can focus a Holga.
The Holga, like it has the little crowd, and then it has it goes up from like the crowd. Yeah, the crowd, and then the little mountain. But I'm pretty certain there's no difference.
the focus on there isn't like a smooth focus like you would have with a normal 35. But it's half frame, so it's not it's not quite the same. But it's really cool. So we'll see. It would be fun to get my hands on that camera and shoot a little bit with it. Come through.
I think our friend Dave pre-ordered one, so
yeah, we gotta
see what he thinks. But he likes half frame for sure. We know a few people that really like half frame. They use like the pen.
Yeah, the Pen E,
which is super popular. I mean, if I was like, hey, I want to buy a half frame, and I had the, okay, do I buy the new $500 Pentax 17 or do I buy a used pen? Yeah. I'd probably buy the pen.
Yeah.
But that's me. That's looking through my eyes of like, I want that control and I want that little extra on there. But yeah, I don't know if I don't even like 35 really. So I think it happens to a lot of people that the larger you go and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can go back. So even to have like go 35, I'm like, I wish I took that on a 120 on a little bigger, but not for us, but 100% for everybody. And it's just really exciting to see anything new. Yeah. Jesus, for like how many years has it been? Like everything's sort of been going the other way. So we had a new film stock that came out within the year.
Phoenix 200, which is by Harman.
Yep. And a new film camera. So that's like kind of amazing. Yeah. So we are definitely okay with that. Yeah. More film, more out there. We want more people printing for sure. And that's going to be a little difficult if you're shooting half frame.
Yeah.
Because you're going to go, you can go 5.7.
We got people making zines. Like go one step further. Go, get in the darkroom. Go make a print.
Yeah.
Like is it hard? Yeah, but
it's worth it.
It's worth it. But I think the challenge with print right now is that it's getting people to appreciate it, and it's hard because there's so much work that goes into printing, and it's not something that you do that is as quick as taking a photo.
Yeah,
and it's as there are a lot of people who don't home develop, they just shoot. They're kind of hands off, but they're still able to say that they were, it's a more tactile process.
They're partially hands on. Yeah, there's so much. Yeah.
And then, like we've mentioned before, there's so many people out there that don't know that they can print.
Yep.
It's like, it's an involved process, but it's also fun. And it's like, it's cool to create something with your hands without using a computer. And like I've mentioned before, I'm not a painter. you have to paint with your hands or your feet or whatever you want, or your mouth. But you have to create that. And I'm not technical, and I just can't, when it comes to painting, I just can't do that. But with film photography and printing, it's technical. And so the fun part is that even though you're not doing it digitally and having all this like ease of process, it's more tactile. You're touching it, you're making it. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I can make a darkroom print. I can execute that really well.
There's a real joy in that. There's a real like, it's like when you develop your own film and when you scan your own film, a lot of time it can be very tedious. And you're like, yeah, this is hands-on, but geez, this is boring. And like, it doesn't feel super creative. And it's just kind of all the stuff that you're, it's like, ugh, like I get that. I hate scanning. Developing, not so much. I'm okay with developing. I'm not as bored with developing as I am with scanning, but printing is like, it's a whole different vibe where it's just a lot more enjoyable. I sometimes have a lot more fun printing my work than I do even shooting my work. Yeah. Because it's just the accessibility. I agree. That's a problem. I get that. We have a darkroom, so we're very lucky where we have a space where we can do actual printing, and a lot of people don't have that. But we really want to kind of keep it, reminding people printing is a thing, and you really at least try it once to see like the magic of it. We see people constantly come through our lab that take printing and they don't realize like, oh wow, this is so different than scanning or even digitally printing this thing. Like this is how it was supposed to look. And just the joy of being in a darkroom and just chilling out and being with you and the paper. And you can put so many moods to your photos just by the things you can do in the darkroom. Yep. It's just such a joy. It really is. It's super enjoyable to do that. And
different experience. I think it's fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's really an experience on its own as well. So
hopefully, I doubt that Bessler's going to come out and say, hey, we've got a brand new enlarger.
I know.
You can use this enlarger.
Or some sort of like smaller, like that'd be kind of cool. There's some way to get those enlargers down to like a very compact size.
I will say Intrepid has actually been amazing in that sense. If you guys aren't familiar with Intrepid cameras, check them out.
They're 4x5s.
Intrepid makes basically like wooden cameras, and they do it in such a way that it's like a very streamlined means of production. But they make 4x5 cameras. They make 8x10 cameras. I want to say probably like a 5x7. But amazing cameras. They are not as sturdy and rigid as a traditional 4x5 camera, but they also created a device that allows you to actually turn the camera into an enlarger, because all you need is the bellows. So it's actually pretty awesome that you can utilize their the camera in a sense to make prints. So probably closest thing to a new enlarger that we'll get.
Yeah.
But
so, and a lot of people are a little intimidated by that. I'm like, I don't have a space, and I get that. It's a whole new set of skills too that you have to learn.
The fun thing is you don't have to spend crazy fortune on ink. So
ink, like I feel like sometimes in the darkroom, I'm like, man, I'm spending a lot of money on this, but at the same time, you look at ink and like printing, that's not cheap either. Yeah. Like that is pricey because when you do like an 8x10 in the darkroom, your paper, give or take at this point now, is about $1.25. It's kind of where you're sitting. Yeah. And then your chems, which it's hard to do that math because you can run so many off of the different chems and depending on the chem, but
yeah, we got a printer from an estate sale about a year ago. It usually runs for $1,200, but got it for $50.
Best buy ever.
That was so good.
So good.
And we got a huge haul of paper. That stuff is pretty expensive.
Yeah,
too.
We got a ton of really nice paper as well. So, but the only problem is the damn ink.
Ink is $60 a cartridge.
Yeah.
And that's not even for the extra large cartridges. That's just the standard size.
How many cartridges too?
It takes either 8 or 10. I forgot.
Yeah, so it's a lot. I know last time we had to buy a couple of them. We're like, oh.
It's like between $400 and $600 for a new set of ink for that thing. And doesn't guzzle the ink, but it definitely works its way through pretty quick. So
it makes some nice prints though. We can do some nice ones. We've done a few things with it and printed out some work.
But it's just painful. It's like
it's a little painful.
Like a huge, almost like a full box of paper when it comes to having to buy new ink for it. So, but if you're going black and white, darkroom's the way to go.
It really is.
Yeah,
no joke. Yeah, get off your computers.
Yeah,
get into the real world, and anyone will tell you, like, you just start printing and seeing people's work. And we saw our one friend at the Analog Alliance, which is kind of a new group that's come around. They've been doing a few events, and they just kind of started this year. They had a event yesterday. Yes, it was yesterday. And they had like a
little garage
sale. So people were selling their stuff, the box of stuff everyone has. Hopefully people sold at that. We were there briefly, but our one friend
Albert?
No. Well, yeah, Albert was there.
David?
Albert was there. Dave was there. A few people we know were there.
Yeah.
But our one friend had brought some of his prints as well, some of the stuff that he had printed out, and he had the album.
Oh, Greg.
Greg. Yeah, I'm sorry, Greg.
With,
You're like my name. Your name flew out of my head.
Photoform.
Yeah. Greg was with Photoform for years.
Yeah.
Now retired, but he prints his work, and he brought a portfolio, and he brought his binder.
Yeah.
And he had printed work, and it was just so nice to be able to flip through real print. I think some of them are inkjet. I don't think all of them were. I think he had a few darkroom, but most of them are inkjet. But still, like, even that way, it was just nice to like flip through actual real prints.
Yeah,
because it just something about the computer and something about looking at mainly on your phone just does such a disservice to people's work.
Yeah, it's just not the same.
No, it's not. Your work looks better printed, I promise you. Print it. Get it out there in the world, and share it with people. People want to see it, and it does. It really is a disservice to like have such good work and go through the process, especially with film, where it's such a hands-on, thought-out process where you're spending so much money. You're having, taking your time for all those frames, and then at the very end, when your final result is on a little screen that's only a few inches tall.
Yeah. It's kind of silly.
It's just such the best word I have is it's a disservice to your photos. And it's just like, that's why I think I've been printing out a lot more recently. And I'm not even necessarily sharing it with anybody. It's for my own use, but I feel better about my photography. And I'm like, that it feels more important to me. And it's like, this is mine. I did that, I have something physical here that I'm holding. And then when I do share it, I'm more proud to share it because it's like, it looks better. It's just nicer. So we're going to keep shouting the print thing. We're going to shout that as loud as we can.
Print.
Because we know it. We know it's true.
Yeah. One of the things that we're going to be working on here as well as in the terms of events, we've been wanting to do a contact night. So
yeah.
So
that'll be a great time for people to come in.
Yeah. So we'll have contact night. You basically bring in your roll of film and we help you make a contact print. And so you can look at all your little tiny frames and have a physical darkroom printed, copy of your film. And we kind of came up with the idea because Pueblo hosts they have a little event
next door to
that
us,
they do.
The plant shop.
One night when we were loading up to get everything in the car to set up for our
one
event.
Of the events.
We ended up getting a little bit of a contact high from all the...
They have, they call them garden sessions, and they have these nighttime garden sessions for smoking weed. Yeah. And you don't bring your own, they supply it. They work with some different companies, marijuana, dispensaries that they work with, and then they have I think some food and stuff, but they obviously are smoking back there. But they get a good crowd next door, and we share a backyard, but it's just as a fence, and there's a shed between us. And we were loading up the car. I'm like, I think I'm high. But
We had
then
the cooler going too, so it was like sucking the
it was
smoke
sucking
in.
the smoke literally into the lab. So the whole
Yeah.
lab was pretty stinky.
We're hotboxing the lab.
That's literally what we did. We hotboxed the lab by having on the cooler.
Yeah.
Because it literally was sucking there. They had like a big cloud over their space,
Yeah.
and then our thing was just like sucking it right through.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hilarious. But at the same time, we were like, you know what? We could do a contact night. So we were thinking about doing contact prints during one of their events.
Just call it contact high, because
So
that's kind of what you get.
You can just kind of hang out in the backyard and get high, and then plus do some contact prints in our lab, which is kind of funny. We're like stealing their used smoke, but
But it'd be fun.
but we may or may not do that on the same night they do that.
Yeah,
We found it
probably
more
not,
amusing than anything, just to kind of spark the idea. But we think it might be a good shot for people, like, so anybody, even if you don't want to print, but if you have negatives, you could come into this event and then get, a contact print and get a little taste of what it's like in a dark room. So, under the red light and actually seeing the trays and seeing kind of how an enlarger works a little bit, just kind of getting a taste of that, just so you can kind of see. It's like, we're like, I feel like thunder. I feel like a drug dealer, it's like you get a little taste of printing.
Yeah.
We'll give you a little taste. It's free.
Give you guys a little taste.
A little taste, and you'll want to come back and get more and get the full thing. But no, it's really fun. And if you've ever, your computer thumbnails, that's exactly where thumbnails came from. It was contact sheets. So you get your whole roll printed out on one page, in silver gelatin. So it's super fun.
Yeah.
So you can actually see it. So we might put something like that together, and that may even be able to happen before the weather breaks, because it's going to be an indoor event. So
Yeah, no, we'll see.
it'll be in the lab. It's just a matter of filtering people through and having the red light on, and we'll figure
humid,
some.
so
Yeah, I mean, once we get out of these couple, July and August, we're not doing much. Everybody, it's going to be pretty quiet, minus the podcast. We'll keep that going through these months. But yeah, once the weather breaks, we have some big plans. We have a lot of events, even more so. We've kind of got the lab. It took a little while for us to get the lab really where we wanted it to be, as far as like organization, and we got rid of a lot of the crap that was in the lab. So we have like more space, and everything's much more organized than it's ever been. And we can fit more people in the lab just because we moved some stuff just the right way in the lab.
Yep.
So we're really, really excited to host more people and get more of the community going, and get more, just the community together.
Yeah.
Is always just awesome. So we want to do more of that this fall. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really great. So
yeah,
bigger and better going into our 7th year, which is kind of crazy. I've only been around for
a couple of them.
3-ish.
Like 3 years.
Yeah.
2020.
Yep, somewhere in there. Pandemic. Yeah, first time I met Dan was pandemic. You had long hair and you had a mask on, and then the next time I came in, you had short hair and no mask.
Yeah, I was a changed man.
You're a changed man. Yeah.
Got my hair trimmed up.
You did. Yeah.
Cleaned right out.
You look completely different. But yeah. So it's been about half of that. So, but kudos to Dan for keeping that shit going. Like during the pandemic,
crazy.
That was not an easy task. It's a hard task with 2 people. I mean, granted, we only have so many hours we can do it with our full-time jobs, but keeping that lab open is like, that's kind of our only goal with the labs. Just keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it open. And we're trying our best, guys, because we know it's limited out there as far as spaces to meet up and do things. And, we want to keep it accessible financially and everything, which can be tough. We have to, probably this fall, we have to boost our prices a teeny tiny bit, but
yeah, we're going to have to
make
a few adjustments. We've been pretty affordable, and
we'll still be affordable, but
this, inflation's been pretty hard on everyone.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, we're going to have to make some adjustments, but full disclosure, we've almost broke $100,000 in the past 6 years, which ironically is not a lot.
Full disclosure on what we've put through the lab. But if you break that down to each year, and then you break down the rent, and you break down all the supplies and everything that we've put out there,
we haven't really made anything.
We've not made anything.
I think we've bought some film for ourselves.
We bought a little bit of film and some paper for ourselves. Yeah, for sure. And we have, and obviously we have a space where we can work, which is that's a big plus for us. Obviously, we're very privileged to have that available to us 24/7. But we thank everybody that's helping us keep it going, because it is hard. And unfortunately, we just did the math and we're like, we got to raise it a little bit just to make sure we still can keep going and keep pushing through. So anytime you guys can like lend support, and, you know, we get it. We only have so many core classes. So if you guys take classes from us, and there's only so many you can take, right? But if you can recommend people to us, because that's really how we advertise as well, is almost purely word of mouth.
Yeah.
Where people find out about us from somebody else that let them know, like, hey, this is a thing, you know, go and do that. And just kind of sharing our stuff on Instagram and, you know, helping us out on that end. And also, if you've ever taken a class with us or an event with us and you haven't left a Google review, it'd be really super nice of you if you could leave us one. We don't do Yelp or anything because that's all kind of pay to play. But a Google review is really nice, because the people that find us via internet, they do go to Google and they check us out and see what the reviews are. And we have a few on there, but to have some more on there would be even nicer. Yeah,
most of the traffic that we get right now is actually through Google. So occasionally we'll get a few people that have been like, you know, I've been creeping on you for the past few years, and I decided I'll finally come in and do a workshop. But I want to say a good portion of people come through Google, which we've been really fortunate to kind of have, you know, pretty decently SEO'd website and all that jazz. But we do have a Patreon. So if you guys are feeling generous and want to help contribute to our expenses and keeping this space going for Phoenix, it would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, and it helps even with the podcast too, because this isn't, between the hosting and everything else, this actually adds up to be quite a bit. And we're not asking for money, or we don't have advertisers or anything. So
we don't have sponsors or
maybe eventually. So we can get Kodak to sponsor us or something. But we want to keep this going because we think it's important. We think having film is important. We think having film accessible to every price point out there and everybody, beginner to professional, it's so important. It's so important. And there's so few dark rooms that are out there. You know, we feel like a little bit of an island out here. And we really we don't want that to go away. Both for ourselves and both for the community. So keeping it going. We'll keep going, guys. That's our promise. We'll keep going as long as we can.
I promise I'll never die.
I'll never die. Yeah, we're both very passionate about it, which is, you know, that's something that brought both of us together, obviously. But we both want to do this, and we both want to keep moving and best we can. So we'll try our best. We really can't. That's why I was so mad at Dan when he got that digital camera. I was like, "What are you doing?" I was like almost mad at him. I was like, "No,
I need it,
cheater."
Are you quitting? No. Well,
Phoenix Digital Revival does not have the same.
Doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right at all.
But no. Yeah, the digital camera definitely for the lab.
It has use. Ironically, its use is in the lab to take videos and photo in the lab of us doing film stuff, which is kind of funny. But it is massively easier in the dark when you're under red light doing stuff to take a digital photo than it is to take a film photo or video in there, for sure.
Reciprocity is not kind on film.
No, it's not. So as much as we like to go full, I mean, it's a modern world. We get to have the best of both, you know. Scanning's a thing, and inkjet printing's a thing, which is obviously, you know, got way more advantages than like RA4 printing. So, you know, we got to take the good with the modern mixed. I like the mix. It's where we're fortunate to live in the time that we do. So we have these opportunities to do so. But that being said, we don't want to go full. We want to keep the old stuff going too. So we'll do our best.
But I don't know. We'll record more podcasts.
Yep. So we're back. So thank you guys for waiting and hanging out. The folks that have been kind of being like, where'd they go? We didn't really give them much of a warning that we were announced season 2, I think, in March, and then we didn't do anything. We're like, we didn't really put anything out there about that. So we apologize for that. But no, we're definitely back. We're getting people on the calendar right now, and we'll get some stuff out to you guys. And we have some really fun people, and some of the people we have coming up, I'm really excited to talk to and kind of find out about them. And we'll throw out some of our history ones as well.
Yeah.
So we'll go on little deep dives on some of this stuff.
Putting
And
Stacy back to work on research.
I know. I get back to my book reports, so I can go back and dig. No, it's really nice to actually go through. And I picked up a Matthew Brady book today, another one. I have 2 books, actually.
Yeah.
I like to do a little bit about him. He was kind of a fascinating guy. He did a lot of Civil War daguerreotype work. He was kind of blind, which is interesting. But I'm excited to do a little bit more deep dive on him and kind of get some of that stuff out about him as well. So yeah, we got some fun podcasts coming up, and we'll get some. And if you guys know anybody that's like super interesting, that's on your radar, you're like, you guys should definitely have this person on the podcast, like 100% reach out. And like, we'd like to get some older folks on, which would be great, just to get some knowledge out there. We always like people that are just starting in film as well, but we want a nice mix of kind of everybody, because we just want to see what everybody's up to or what people have done. I love learning about like everybody's sort of style and what interests them and keeps them going. It's so fun. Yeah. So I'm happy that we're back. We got some time. We got this worked out. We got our schedules pretty well.
This summer's going to be nice for us to get caught up on the podcast. So.
Yep, absolutely.
But up next, Kurt.
Yeah. So, great conversation with Kurt. So
stay tuned. We'll have another episode here very soon. And appreciate you guys listening.
Thank you so much, guys.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.